Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hey English podcast. I'm so excited you're here today because we're going to talk about something we all do every single day, our daily routines. Whether you're a student, a working professional, or just someone looking to improve their English, this is a topic everyone can relate to. Today, we're not just going to talk about what we do each day, but I'll also help you learn some really useful vocabulary, grammar tips, and even a few idioms and phrases that native speakers use when they talk about their daily lives. So, by the end of this video, you'll feel more confident talking about your own routine in English, whether it's what you do in the morning, during work or school, or how you relax in the evening. Plus, I'll share a few common mistakes to avoid, so stay tuned for that. And as always, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our future lessons. Let's get started. So, let's dive into how we can describe our daily routines in English, starting with the morning, because that's where every day begins, right? Now, think about your typical morning. What do? You might say, I wake up at 7 a.m., I brush my teeth, I have breakfast, and then I get ready for work or school. These are simple, everyday actions that we all do. And the great thing is, they're super easy to describe in English. When we talk about our routines, we usually use the present simple tense. That's because these are actions we do regularly, every day, every week. For example, we say, I wake up, not I am waking up, because it's something we do again and again. So let's break down a few key words you'll need for your morning routine. Wake up is the first action of the day. I wake up at 7 a.m. Next, we have get dressed. I get dressed after breakfast, and don't forget brush your teeth. I brush my teeth before leaving the house. These are really useful phrases to help describe the start of your day. Here's a tip. When you talk about time in your routine, you'll want to use the word at for specific times. So, I wake up at 7 a.m., and in the morning to describe that general part of the day, like, I get dressed in the morning. Little things like these really make your sentences sound more natural in English. What does your morning routine look like? Feel free to think about it as we go along. And remember, if you're someone who has a cup of coffee to start your day, you can say, I have coffee every morning. Or if you prefer tea, I drink tea before heading to work. It's all about those little habits we do every day. See how easy it is to describe? Now you try. Think about what you do in the morning and practice saying it in English. All right, now that we've covered mornings, let's keep going with our day. Now, after we're all set and ready, the next part of the day usually involves heading to work or school. So, let's talk about how to describe this part of your daily routine. When you arrive at work or school, there are a few key activities you might want to mention. For example, I check my emails first thing in the morning, or I attend meetings if you're at work, or I have classes from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. if you're a student. These phrases help paint a picture of your daily activities in English. And if you're wondering, the verb attend is a great formal way to talk about going to classes or meetings. So instead of saying, I go to a meeting, you can say, I attend a meeting. It sounds a little more polished. Now let's make this part more interesting by throwing in some idioms that English speakers love to use when talking about their busy day. Have you ever heard the phrase, hit the ground running? It means to start something with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. For example, when I get to work, I hit the ground running by tackling my most important tasks first. It's a great way to show that you're being productive right from the start. Another one we often hear is burn the midnight oil. This means working late into the night, usually because you have a lot to do or a deadline coming up. So you might say, I had to burn the midnight oil to finish my project. And trust me, we've all had those nights. Think about your own work or school routine. Do you usually hit the ground running in the morning, or do you find yourself burning the midnight oil to get things done? And if you take a break during the day, like lunch, you can simply say, I take a lunch break at noon. Using these small but essential phrases makes it easy to describe your day, whether you're talking about a busy workday or a full schedule of classes. How's your day going so far? Think about how you describe your work or school routine in England, and maybe try to it sound more natural. All right, we've covered the busy part of the day, work and school, but let's not forget the evenings. Let's talk about how to describe winding down after a long day. Now let's move on to the evening. Because after a busy day of work or school, we all need to relax and unwind, right? Evening routines can vary a lot from person to person. Some of you might say, I go for a walk after work to clear my head, or maybe I cook dinner for my family. These simple phrases can describe what you usually do in the evenings. When we talk about unwinding after a long day, we often use the word relax. You might say, I like to relax by watching TV, or I wind down by reading a book. The phrase wind down is a great way to express that you're slowing down and getting ready to end your day. One of the most common phrases people use to describe their evening activities is, call it a day. Have you heard that one before? It simply means to stop working or finish what you're doing for the day. For example, after finishing all my tasks, I call it a day and relax with a good movie. It's a casual yet fun phrase to use. If you're someone who likes to cook in the evening, you can say, I prepare dinner, or I make dinner. And if you're in the mood for something quick, you might even say, I order takeout and call it a night, which means you're done for the day and ready to rest. And here's a helpful tip. When you're talking about evening activities, it's common to use after to describe when things happen. For example, after dinner, I watch TV, or after work, I go to the gym. This little word helps connect your actions in a natural way. So, what does your evening routine look like? Maybe you like to relax, exercise, or spend time with family. Whatever it is, try thinking about how you would describe it in English. You could say, I usually relax after dinner by watching a series. Or, I like to go for a run after work. These are all phrases that can make your English sound smooth and natural. It's all about finding the right words to fit your own routine. And once you have those, it becomes so much easier to talk about your day. Now that we've walked through the whole day, from morning to evening, I hope you feel more confident about describing your daily routine in English. Now that we've covered your daily routines, let's talk about a few common mistakes that learners often make when describing their day in English. Don't worry, it happens to everyone, and with just a few tweaks, your sentences can sound much more natural. One of the biggest mistakes I've noticed is mixing up present simple and present continuous tenses. Remember, when you're talking about things you do regularly, like your daily routine, you should use the present simple tense. For example, I go to the gym every day, not I am going to the gym every day. The present continuous, I am going, is used for actions happening right now. So you'd say, I am going to the gym right now, if it's happening at this moment. Another common mistake is with time phrases. Learners often say, I do something in every morning. But the correct way to say this is I do something every morning without the word in. So you'd say, I have coffee every morning, or I take a walk every evening. Little changes like this can make a big difference in how natural your English sounds. Speaking of time, here's a helpful rule to keep in mind. When you're talking about specific times, always use the preposition at. So you'd say, I wake up at 7 a.m., not in 7 a.m. For parts of the day, like morning or evening, use in. For example, I exercise in the morning, or I relax in the evening. These small words can be tricky at first, but once you practice, it becomes second nature. One more thing to watch out for is using the right verbs when talking about meals. I often hear learners say, I take breakfast, but in English we use have or eat with meals. So you'd say I have breakfast or I eat lunch instead of I take breakfast. Simple but important. Are any of these mistakes sounding familiar? If they are, don't worry. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Just remember those small changes, like using the present simple for routines and the right prepositions for time, and your English will really start to flow. It's all about practice and being aware of these little rules. So next time you're describing your day, keep these tips in mind, and soon you'll notice a big improvement. So, we've covered a lot today. Everything from your morning routine to common mistakes and useful idioms for work or school. The best part about all of this, you can practice these phrases every day as you go through your own routine. Whether you're making breakfast, heading to work, or winding down in the evening, try thinking in English and describing what you're doing. Remember, small, consistent practice is key. You don't have to speak perfectly right away. Just focus on using the right vocabulary, grammar, and phrases little by little. Maybe start with something simple, like describing your day to yourself or even to a friend in English. By practicing daily, these words and phrases will soon become second nature and your confidence will grow. So keep at it. The more you use these phrases, the easier it will become to express yourself naturally in English. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found these tips helpful and fun. Keep practicing, and soon, talking about your daily routines in English will feel like a breeze. And before we wrap up completely, I just want to remind you, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every time you practice, you're getting one step closer to fluency. So keep going and be proud of your progress. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more tips and lessons to help you on your English learning journey. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I love hearing from you. Thanks again for joining me, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Take care and keep practicing.